That's how quick. Oh, I've got to get that out of there. Can't get that in there. Ooh.
Here we go.
Here we go, and we're rolling. Welcome to the Pagey train. Today I have with me Laura Bradshaw. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Ross. Long time no see.
It has been a while. We've been catching up. We've already had a few cleansing ales before we started the show.
Cheers.
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 Got the right one.
Which one? Should we go for this one?
Has to be the ale.
And then wash it down.
Yeah. That's right.
Anyway, how you been?
Oh, I've been pretty good. I've been busy. You know me. Just busy me. But I guess we got to tell our audience, how we met, and that was through the radio station, because you're a radio presenter, yeah?
Yes, that's correct. I believe you heard about me from your boss. Is that correct?
Big shout out to Media Hub and Alan, of course, one of our major sponsors for Made in the West.
And he was one of my major sponsors. Well, he didn't actually sponsor me, but he's a big fan of my show, I believe. But anyway, that's how we met.
Yeah. Well, I remember being really nervous coming onto your radio show, because I'm like, this is a bit of a big deal. And then I got but you made me feel totally comfortable. Absolutely.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You did fine.
No, I think I did okay, but I think when you know that you're live on air, that there's an adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah.
You must get that from being, a radio jock, that's why you're in.
The countdown. Seeing the countdown on the seconds and about to go boom.
Yeah. Well, what got you into radio? What did you want to do radio for?
Well, I actually started when I was in my teens back in Liverpool, UK. Mm-hmm. I was working for a commercial radio station over there, doing some outside broadcasts, part of the events team, and cooking up a storm, and taking over the then other commercial radio station. Yeah, we had to beat it hands down. So anyway, started in the teens, then went in more line of my own self-employed event management, to do with music, to do with
is that like concerts and stuff like that, and sporting events?
Yeah, big events, or brand launches, or car race meetings, things like that, yeah. And then I came back to Australia many moons ago. In fact, interestingly, it will be my 11th year anniversary this Friday, the 11th.
Oh, wow. This Friday, the 11th.
We should...
11th. Well, here's to 11 years in Oz.
We could come again and do this. Anyway,
absolutely.
It's been such fun already. And then got involved in the local community radio station close to me.
I remember when I was talking to you back in... it was a couple of years ago when you were helping me promote Made in the West. And you were talking about when you did some acting over... Was it in the UK?
Yes, yep.
And, you mentioned you were... Oh, no. Yeah, I know. But you mentioned that you were a copper in a show. And I remember when you said that, because I was talking to you beforehand. I'm like, this
got me.
This person's really cool. And, you've always got, you light up a room and you've always got something cheeky to say. And, then when you said, I played a cop in this show, I'm like, I could see that.
Thanks. Yeah, I was a regular copper on a show on the BBC, actually, called Merseybeat. Merseybeat, yeah. So I've actually should have brought the photo of me dressed up in the copper's uniform, and it doesn't go down well being from Liverpool dressed up as a copper very often. Always got cast as a copper. Yeah. I'm not one though. I know. Yeah.
I'm definitely not a policeman.
Hey, I might even take a role up like that again. Who knows?
Who knows? Oh,
acting.
Yeah. Check it out.
Only acting. Not real. Couldn't do that job.
Yeah. I've never really done a speaking role or anything like that before. I've been an extra or just warm props in the background. I don't know if I can do it.
Is that why you were nervous coming into the show then?
Yeah, I suppose. Don't get me wrong. Love being in the limelight. There's nothing wrong with that. But I suppose for me, it's more on stage doing heavy metal. That's where I guess I've felt my most vulnerable. But at the same time, it's a paradox where you feel your most strong as well.
Yeah.
When you get the gumption to get up on stage and perform, that's, I don't know, I guess it's again, it comes back to that paradox. It's a piece of me, but it's something else as well. It's this role that you're playing. When I'm on stage, it's a role, but it's also me.
But you tend, when you're in a band situation or even on a television show, you're more acting it So it's you separate it. Whereas when you're talking with like we are now, or on radio, or when it's more to your personality rather than an actor's or a role you're playing, it's a little bit harder. It's a bit more the spotlight on you. So when you walked in that day, I know when I met you, like you know, the fright on there, but you did great, and I think you're very warm, very nervous, but then we just broke the ice. And
oh yeah, no, totally.
Can you remember our first conversation?
Vaguely.
Testing you. Go on.
Yeah.
What was it about?
Look, all I remember is trying to remember the cue points that Misty had given me. Make sure that you mention this sponsor. Make sure that you do this. And then I got instructions from you. Make sure you keep your sponsorship in tow, because you know there's rules on radio. There's rules on radio, right? Yep. You got to abide by some rules, and you go, okay, so I've got to keep it in this context. So I've got to be really honest with you, under the duress of remembering what my producers are telling me, because I think I brought Jonathan with me as well.
Did, yeah. How is he going?
Oh, he's fabulous. Jonathan, a big shout out, Jono. Always a big shout out.
Hey, Jono. I'm going to be seeing you again this year, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why we made contact. Look, more about that later. You know, Jonathan is doing really well. He's working for state government at the moment, I think. He's a man trying to change the world. Yeah.
Good on him. Good on him. He'll do well at that.
Yeah?
He'll do really well at that.
Yeah, look, he's the best event coordinator I've ever worked with. Puts all his heart and soul into everything.
Now, I've got to be careful here, because I am feeling like I need to take over the role of interviewer.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is odd for me, because you're now the interviewer and I'm the other side. This is a really strange place for me.
I have a list of people that I've always wanted to interview on the show.
Right.
And you're totally on that list. Like, I think when I first...
get out.
No, but I come up with the podcast idea that I wanted to do, and then to do that, you go, all right, so who am I going to target as guests? Because you need to come up with guests, right? And what are you going to talk about? What kind of aims do you have? What's your mission statement? Through all of that, you come up with a list, and you're definitely on the list. It's just that now I had this opportunity because we got to catch up. Because look, I just think it's funny how things work out. You know, it's funny how things work out. Like
we were only talking about that before, weren't we? We were being very philosophical. We won't get that philosophical in here,
as my sister would say, philosophical.
I nearly did it myself.
To being philosophical. But we were. I think that Laura B is definitely going to be the MC for this year at Made in the West Film Festival.
I have been officially asked tonight, in fact. So this is breaking news first.
Yeah, you heard it first here on the Pagey train.
Yeah,
but look, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you before. You've always had this community mind where I think, you know, doing, the radio show that you've been doing is, you've got this really positive outlook, and you really bring that to a room. I just really appreciate it.
You know, for me, doing the radio there, and back in the UK, it's about bringing a vibe to other people and making other people smile. If you can do that, the world's a hard enough place, why not do it? And with the community radio, I was honoured that I got to interview a lot of bands and artists and go on the vibe with that, but also to interview the likes of yourselves and other people who are doing amazing stuff in the community. There's absolutely amazing stuff going on there. And I think it's great that it should be showcased, and it's a shame we won't be able to get as much publicity during that line, but we've got other things coming for us.
Yeah, absolutely. We have. Look, we've got things in the pipeline. Obviously, got to be tight-lipped about these sort of things.
And it's a shame. It's a shame a lot of these communities now don't have that type of voice, or people who may not have a chance in life, or people who are struggling in life. I love all that. I will back anything like that.
Yeah, well, we're creating accessibility, and I think that's kind of the ilk where we come from. Like, you're from the other side of the world, right? And then we managed to meet in the west of Sydney, and we have totally different lives, but at the same time we meet in this middle of community radio, community podcasting, community events, and I just think I just love running into people like that.
There's a lot to be said for that type of stuff, and you know what? Who's to say the paths that Alan put us together and how it all comes about? It's crazy how that happens, isn't it? But if it's meant to be, it'll be, and good things grow from a seed.
Yeah, that's right. Look, another shout out to Alan and Media Hub. Love having you guys as a sponsor and representing people that are supporting employment
Definitely.
in Western Sydney. No doubt about it. These guys, you got to understand, like these guys are doing. They're broadcasting TV to regional areas. So if you're ever driving through a country town and you see people in a pub watching the football, these guys are delivering that content.
Do you know, I was so honoured when
It's a very thankless job.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well,
But they do a really big job.
Alan was and his team there. What happened was we were at a technical conference for radio broadcasting, and I was lucky enough that my radio station put me on that particular conference for the weekend, and we got a chance to go around Media Hub, and what a place. I've never seen anything like it. Even though I work in radio and do that, this place is unbelievable. Will you just describe it? And I was
I've got a perfect
introduced
description for it.
by Alan and the team, and we got showed around, and they took their time. I was just amazed what them guys do there.
Well, look, we affectionately call that place the Death Star because it's like the peak of technology, and it's just taking over. It is so fierce in what it does that it just takes over everything. Like
I have never seen those rooms with so many. What are they called? What's that room?
Server rooms.
Server
rooms, and then you've got the
cables.
presentation floor. So like you could be one person operating an entire network of content for 4 different time zones across the continent.
I know they were just blinding me and others who are technically minded in radio. You were blindsiding us with technology. It was amazing.
Look,
it was amazing.
when
I'd
you're
love
doing
to go again.
when you're running live sport as a presentation operator, right? Because that's what they call them. So they're presentation operators that actually put content to air. They're the last hands that it leaves before it goes to air, right?
So when you get that little, you won't like me, when you get that little blackout like I had the other day on a certain channel.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking those guys down there. Well,
someone got yelled at. Someone got yelled at for that. I can assure you.
I thought straight away. Now I know that.
Number one rule in television: never put black to air. If you've got dead air, that's because in radio they call it dead air.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah.
In TV,
it's
if you're not seeing a watermark or what they call a bug, which is like the channel symbol at the bottom left, bottom right of the television, that it means something's gone terribly wrong. And if there's no content behind that, something's kind of gone wrong.
I wonder who was on duty that night. Anyway, but we'll go down.
But there's so many rules. And it's about protecting the channel. It's about protecting the network.
Yeah.
And look, there are other competitors out there. I'm not going to name those competitors, but I must say that looking at content nationally, Media Hubs certainly do a really good job.
Yeah, well, I see they give us figures and things like that, and it's just blow us away.
Yeah, no, but like people get upset about a minute of black, dead air.
Dead air. A minute is massive.
That's massive.
Because don't forget, we've got no viewing as well, so it's just literally.
Well, I call it an outage. It's called an outage in the industry, like having an outage, and you don't want to be an operator having an outage. But when you're running live sport, for instance, when someone scores a try or an over is finished, 6 bowls for the cricket.
Yeah.
They will then go to commercial. That's normally done by a live presentation operator. Okay. So they'll send it to commercial, and they have a list of commercials that are listed regionally. So when you're looking at, they call them markets. So by looking after markets, you have one person could be looking after 200 markets. So essentially, they're looking after 200 channels across the continent.
Wow.
And with individualized content.
Yeah.
So it's all about time. You learn to exist in time.
It's the same with radio, though. It's just exactly the same with radio. It really is. It's all slotted in and the same thing. If you run in certain segments or ads
scheduled.
or sponsors. Yep. Yeah, it can go terribly wrong, can't it?
Yeah, because then you got to because imagine that it's doing the same with radio, right?
Yeah.
Because you're the talent as well, and while being the talent, you're operating the content that's coming up.
No, sometimes, especially in bigger stations and commercial, they have panel operators, producers, and things like that. Whereas for the likes of ourselves, we are literally doing everything.
Yeah. So you're just the one hat does all.
So you're like the stable lad learning everything. So when you go somewhere else and they take the job off you, you're like, oh.
Well, in TV they call it throws, like you'll throw to a segment. So is it the same in radio? You throw to a song and then you come back from a song.
Yeah.
And then you'll have that sort of meet in the middle of
intro, outro.
Intro, outro.
Yeah, same sort of Same sort of take. I'll teach you.
Well,
I'll
I
teach
was
you.
watching. Have you ever watched
You were fascinated by me going with. Sorry,
Oh,
by the. I know.
I know. Who's running this place?
Excited now.
Who's running this
But
shit?
you were fascinated. Yeah, it sounds like it's like you
Oh
going.
shit!
You going.
Oh shit! It was me.
Oh sugar. Oh
sugar.
shit.
Fuck indeed.
Oh, do you know, can we have a conversation about that? Can we? Okay. So you say fuck. Sounds posh. How about saying like from Liverpool? Fuck.
Fuck. No, you can do that. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that's where my heritage oozes to the surface. It's the Irish English in me that you're fuck.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Fucking all.
You gotta get the.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, we won't go any
No,
further.
but I don't want to go
I don't
further
endorse
because
swearing. It sounds horrible.
yeah, but like, can you curse well though? Are you a good curser?
Oh, I can. Oh.
I'm a fucking fantastic curser.
Oh, you ask my kids or my ex. I'm sure they'll tell you I'm fantastic.
Yeah, but it's about delivery. It's about delivery.
It's all about the
and it's about a bit about eyes as well. It's a bit about eyes.
And the face, you know, really. It depends on how you say it. If you're laughing saying it, like, I mean, watch this one.
All right.
Fuck. Or you go, fuck.
That's it. So that's that Liverpoolism.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, because that even the connotation of that fork, you can hear the headbutt in it. You can hear a headbutt in that that curse word.
This is so good. I like the idea of this podcast because on radio we can't.
Oh, they got rules.
Was that you?
Yeah, that's me.
It can't swear.
It's okay.
We haven't. If you peeing in a bottle down there,
Yeah.
you can't swear. Oh, you get caught swearing, you're in deep.
No, you
deep
can't.
trouble.
You can't. But
We can say fuck.
But on
shit.
YouTube, their rule is like don't swear in the first minute, don't swear in the last minute. You can do a bit of cussing in the middle, not to be overly obscene.
No,
they don't want you. And why would you want to be?
Exactly. No, there's a better. I teach my kids people who swear are people who don't have a very big vocabulary. That water tastes well.
No, they lack in lexicon. That's what I like to say. You're just lacking in lexicon. Yeah.
That's all right, isn't it? I like that one. I might use that one.
Yeah. You've got to be as tweaked as one could be to come up with shit like that.
Shit like that, fella.
Shit
But we
like
won't
that.
say shit no more.
We don't say shit no more. We're on the bloody radio, mate.
We got more vocabulary than shit.
Yeah, the abominable little snowman. Yeah.
This is going down, Peg, quick.
No, it is.
Anyway,
it is.
back on topic.
What was our topic? Where the fuck were we going?
You've said about Made in the West. Tell me about Made in the West this year. What's
okay.
we got excited then.
Look. The most exciting thing that I've been about Made in the West so far. No. The thing that I'm most excited. It's impression is the best form of flattery.
Don't joke on me because I'm going to have to keep talking and you're loving to talk, so
I do. Well, I guess the graphic design for the posters come back and we always
seeing that.
It's always trippy in some way, and I think we've topped it this year. Is
it like the wall up here? Because I tell you what, that's a great.
The hypnotic wall. I run a hypnotic wall.
You can't see it, but I tell you what. It's fantastic.
Well,
it's mesmerised me. Sometimes it's better looking at that than you anyway, Ross. So, Sorry.
Yeah, but I can't see. That's where we come back. See, I had this fear when I get you on the show because you're a radio host. It's going to be like this question answer. Yeah. No. I'm running answers. No. I'm running questions now.
Go ahead then. Throw them.
No, but what I'm saying is this parry, ching.
Ching. Yeah.
I brought Laura onto the show so that we can parry. We're
only warming up.
Swords.
We might have to make a regular thing of this. What do you think?
Yeah, look.
What do you think?
Look, I was talking about it with you off air. Like anyone who wants to run a podcast, I'll give him a hand. And work it out any way you can. Like whether it's advice or whether it's like helping them set it up, or we need to talk more off air about it.
Yeah. I tell you what, great setup. Yeah, never let the left hand know what the right hand's doing.
Well, look, I've said this many a times. Like you got to understand, like this room. Because when people sit in this room, they're like, holy hell, man.
It's a cool room. I came in and I went, oh, Ross, I love your setup. I didn't expect it to look like this.
Well, it's the studio. It's the podcast studio. It's the edit suite. And it's where I watch all of the content for Made in the West, right? So
Yeah.
this is, for me, this room is where I run everything that I need to do.
Yeah.
The parts of the band that I do come from here. Anything that I upload online, anything that I cut commercially, everything.
All this room.
It's all in this room.
It's a great room.
But this is like an extension of when I was a teenager. This is just my teenage bedroom. That's just,
You're still doing the teen thing, aren't you?
yeah,
But
man.
just
Always
having
had a rug, always had a couch, always had a screen, always had a computer. I think I was in that generation that could type before I could write, but that's not impressive anymore. Because I'm still from the analog age. We're both from the analog age,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
we're
digital immigrants. Digital immigrants.
You could definitely call me a digital immigrant.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Definitely.
I've got so much to learn. But hey, horses for courses. That's what we have to to yourself.
That's it. I'm a 1 foot in. I'm a 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Oh no, but I reckon you got a good few little strings to your bow. I reckon.
Yeah, that's true. But I still know how to post a letter. I don't think you know what I mean.
Do you know? I had to write. Listen to this.
I know that sounds like a big deal, but a lot of people can't
hard...
post a letter. This is what I've just learned recently. Some people can't post a letter.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I had to post 2 letters last week back home.
Like with the stamp,
the
address.
auntie, with the auntie and uncle that don't have computers and then you got to sit there, and my arm was aching. I wrote the letter. It took me. I mean, don't get me wrong. They replied, and this is the hard thing. They sent me one back in January, and one was for Christmas beforehand. And then I've just sent it about 3 weeks ago. I thought, phew. Got that out the way. It'll take a couple of weeks, which it does to get back home lately. Anyway, I've already got 2 letters back, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be having to write those. That'll happen next Christmas.
But on the other side of that, though, do you find that the emotional effect on writing on paper is different from typing? Is like the experience is different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my head tends to work faster than what I'm writing, so I'd hate to read back.
Yeah, but I'm a talker. You're a talker as well.
Yeah.
We're talkers. Like I think before I speak. Happens all the time. No,
Definitely.
sorry. Speak before I think. Already just happened. Right. How ironic. I think before I speak. Good on you, Ross.
I even agreed with him.
Yeah. Good on you. Good on you.
No, the 2 of us. But when you're writing, you're trying to get it all. Oh, it's easier because I'm a touch typer. You see, I can touch type.
I'm half touch type. Half touch type.
Oh no, I can. I learned that
Missy's
many
really
years
tricky.
ago.
She can be typing and going, okay, so what are you having for dinner?
That's me.
She can like have a conversation and type. Like, there's no way I can do that. That ain't happening. But I know I can talk and check my status at the same time.
Oh,
that's rude, though, isn't it? So rude.
Status or status?
Status. I don't know. I don't do status.
Well, I thought you were English, Irish.
I suppose I think I'm more Irish than I am English.
Really?
I don't know. I haven't fully done the what do they call it? The DNA test
thing.
ancestry.com thing. Yeah.
Do you know? I couldn't believe how many people here have done that and looked so much into their history, and yet us. Not saying everybody, but
don't want to be generalising.
A little bit not as bothered about it back home as what you are here.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but there's those cultural differences, right? Because I think those cultural differences happen everywhere.
Yeah.
And, some people are a tourist, some are a traveller.
Because it was migrated, probably, and so they want to chase back from there. Because English don't tend to trace back. Not many. Look in their ancestry.
Yeah, because they're just from England.
Well, there's ancestry there too, but we're just probably lazy. We don't
I know, but it goes back to Roman times.
We don't give a shit.
It goes. You've got the Saxons, you've got the Romans.
Well, you are who you are, aren't you? I've got a saying back home, and I've got a saying.
Is it because of the detachment of Australia? I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, I've got a saying, and I think it's great. It's not where you're from; it's how you come.
Yeah. That's interesting,
isn't it? What do you think of that one?
Well, I've noticed things between cities though, like. Melbourne, for instance, they would be more like, what school did you go to? And in Sydney, they'd be like, so where do you live? So what I found through that sort of experience is that people in Melbourne are more like, and totally generalising here, I could totally be wrong. People from Melbourne are more like, where you from? And people in Sydney are like, where you at? You know what I mean? So there's a different different sort of perception, and I think it's to do, I don't know, again, totally
Maybe.
hypothetical, but it could be to do with indoor culture versus outdoor culture. Like, I think Melbourne crowds are better, like they're more they
social
participate
go
more.
out with things, because it's known for having
it's got bad weather, so it's got bad weather, so people go inside. Then they look at inside events, like, music events, that sort of thing. And I find that Sydney crowds are a bit different. I think Queensland crowds are a bit more animated as well. But yeah, Melbourne, they just seem to be the shit, really, when it comes to the arts.
As in good?
Yeah, like...
Oh, the shit. Because the shit give me two things. Yeah. So you're saying they're good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
See, typical Australianism. I've said the opposite, but what I mean...
I don't know.
What I mean is actually opposite to that, yeah.
No, because I found Melbourne really like hip and cultural and doing things.
It's totally cultural,
and intermingling more so than what they do in Sydney.
Yeah, that's
or
right.
Queensland.
That's right.
And I might be general, but I tend to find that's most people's view.
Yeah, I think that there's more things going on in Melbourne. And there's more participation.
No, well, okay, then maybe this is why. Like in the UK, there's a hell of a lot of things going on over there and all sorts. I'm wondering if it's the bad weather outside actually does make things happen more rather than you would think if they were out in the city.
Yeah, that's right.
Like in a hot country, like city like Sydney.
Yeah. Well, look at Melbourne. What's the like physical icons of Melbourne? Yeah, there isn't any.
They got the Yarra.
The Yarra? What's the Yarra?
The Yarra River, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a river.
Yeah, it's all right down there because they got a hell of a lot of good bars down the side.
Yeah,
of
but that's it. That's where you get pissed,
just like
right?
just like the Thames.
That's where you get pissed. Yeah, but every city has that. Like if you go to Sydney, you got to get a photograph of the Harbour Bridge. You got to get one while you're there.
Yeah.
If you're not from Sydney, I've got to go stand next to this bridge and go get a photo.
Yeah, and the Opera House.
And the Opera House, you got to stand. There's these, silhouette-esque, picturesque icons of Sydney. It's a surface thing. Like in Melbourne, it's in the system of it.
You got a feel of it, yeah. So although I tell you where I loved.
And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that they're different. They're different. Yeah.
But in Melbourne, all the graffitied walls and things like that.
Yeah, well,
I thought that was great.
Well, they have that. They have that in Sydney, but I just find don't get me wrong, because I look at graffiti a lot. I've got a friend that does a lot of study on graffiti around the world, and
really,
from writing on the back of toilet doors to like murals, right? Murals.
Yeah,
you got to get Aussie on that. Murals.
Yeah, no, you struggle with that one.
Yeah. It's not Muriel's wedding. It's just murals.
I think I might have said Muriel.
Muriel's. But she studies graffiti all over the world.
Wow.
And like the things I've learned from her, actually, like a big shout out to Rachel, actually.
Hey, Rachel.
She was studying. Maybe it crossed my wires here. I hope I've got this right. But I found no. This is actually a channel called DW, Deutsche Welle. Deutsche Welle. They were talking about. This guy that was walking around Berlin photographing graffiti, and then 6 months later you come back, the council's painted over it, and someone else has done another artwork.
Right.
So what he was doing is he was going around photographing different parts of Berlin as it changed, and then he put that into an algorithm so that you hold your phone up to graffiti and you can go back through the past of what that wall used to be.
Wow, that's clever.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And that was his art. Yeah, this is his digital art installation. And these things get you thinking, right?
Now that's creative.
Yeah, that's insane. I've got this crazy idea. Look, I'll put it out there. Fuck it. I'll put it out there. Right?
Don't give any ideas away on camera.
No. Do 4 paintings, right? Do a landscape.
Let's just stop there.
Okay.
4 paintings. If you spoke to my kids, they would tell you how good Mum's paintings are, and I'll tell you what, they're a hell of a lot better than me.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? So what you got to do is try and paint a house, try and paint a mountain, try and paint some flowers, try and paint a portrait, right? And then, however bad or good they are, do a how-to video of how you created those things, and then go through an entire process of burning those paintings and putting them into ash, and then taking that ash and putting it inside a jar and having a photograph of that painting and having a digital algorithm that can read the painting that takes you to YouTube of how that painting was painted and burnt and put in that jar.
Whoa.
Yeah. Deep.
You're doing that one next.
No way. This is what you come up with.
Well,
you're drunk
you come up with an idea.
You're drunk in a pub, you've had a cigarette out of the back, and you've come back in.
You come up with an idea, which is not a pointless idea, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's art. It's art.
Oh, it's like this Clive Age 5 where it's just... You grab your hand, put it in a whole heap of paint. I'm good at that. It's just do that. That's
digital
all.
art represented in paintings that you can do this whole deal and have it digitally represented,
right?
And ultimately have it in a something that's like a die, or not dice, but die.
Die.
And that's the title of it. There you go. It's called Die.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So we should totally do this.
I'll leave that project just for you.
Yeah, I don't think.
What project are we going to go and do?
I reckon we should stick to promos, radio, and podcasting.
I reckon. Well, I don't know. We're talking about the podcasting. This is
events.
our first ever podcast, Ross. You're meant to be showing me what to do, and all I can see is sitting here drinking beer.
Yeah, no, but look, coming on to the show, you end up with a beer, but I end up with strange requests. Like sometimes it's champagne, sometimes it's wine.
I like that. Well, next time can I have some? I'll have some nice champagne.
You want the champagne?
I'll write it down. I'll do a rider. So he actually does riders, do you? You do rider form?
Yeah.
What I want?
No, it's just a text message. Like, what do you drink?
Right.
But you just rocked up and we just were having a fun time.
Yeah,
fuck it, let's do a podcast.
Drawn in at the deep end, can't you tell? Ross, I won't be looking like this for the festival.
Oh, look, you look fantastic. What
You're kidding.
about?
This is au naturel, including the
Oh,
spot.
gosh, why do you do these things?
He put me on this side. He put me on this side for a reason. Look.
No, there's not even a spot there. You were
Bugger.
insane. You were absolutely insane.
Anyway, tell me about this year's Made in the West. What's happening?
Oh, man.
Where are you up to? How are you doing?
Okay.
Are we on target? Are we getting our run sheet ticked off?
Always on target. Always on target, but there's always a new stress with Made in the West for me over the last 8 years.
Doesn't matter with any event. Boom.
Whether it's changing a venue or trying to get a new sponsor or trying to help out little small business along the way, because sometimes the relationships we have are struggled, and they're doing it tough and we're doing it tough sometimes, and you got to try and help each other out.
Yeah, that's right.
Content, and then in the content creation world of things, sometimes you got to let things slide and do your best as an operator and do good by people. I think is the ultimate key.
And I think a lot of business, doesn't matter what industry, have lost that do good by people. It's not hard.
Well, when you're in a small business environment, you got to do that.
Yeah. Any business environment you should be is everyone needs to make a profit and make a living. I get that, but you need to do right by people.
And that's right. And part of our model is advertising space, and we work with that with our sponsors and our clients, and everyone that we're involved with, we try to get them work. But I suppose last year's stress was a change of venue. This year's stress is actually personal. So
tell me a bit. About the history from Made in the West. I know you've told me briefly, but where were you before? Because you were at Paddington when I. First met you.
I've been through this a few times on the podcast.
Remember, because that was when
I'll do it again. I'll do a little, because new things come out because people ask different questions, right? So, we started out at the Roxy Hotel in Parramatta, and we were there for a couple of years. We had 100 people show up at the first event and 300 people show up at the second year event, and then we had a festival, right? And that happened because of multiple reasons. A lot of it was my own rebellion against the system. I'm like, if you're not going to show our work, we'll show our own work, man. There was a bit of if you want to call it postcode prejudice or postcode stigma, I call it postcode rebellion. Screw what other people thought of our films. I know that we're making good movies, man, and we put a lot of work into it, and people around us were doing that, so we wanted to showcase that. So there's this protest element to Made in the West back in those days.
And when was that? How many years are we going back now?
Oh, that's 7 years ago.
7 years.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like Made in the West has gone through multiple evolutions since then. And, you know, it's gone from me collecting USBs off people to put on a projector at the front of a broken down cinema to, you know, running the whole email system myself through multiple channels by putting posters up to, you know, being in a cinema with a multi-million-dollar projector, with leather seats, with, you know, full sponsorship, community engagement, you know, the whole 9 yards, right? And we're trying to expand that. And when you change venue and you have to move, it's challenging. But this year, it's been it's all been personal. There's been so much going on in my life. You know, not to get too far into it. But there's always a new challenge, and I just find that stacking on the work, like a lot of, you know, some people would call it, you know, being a workaholic. I don't see it that way. I have a lot of downtime. I have a lot of time where, you know, I can just watch movies or just chill out, listen to music. Or
It's like I said before, it's not just a job; it's a way of life. So there's the nature of the job. It is a way of life. You will go and you'll do your things, but it may not be at the hours that other people, you know, are doing it and things like that. And it's about finding a balance within that and try and keeping a steady pace and head on things while you're going through that.
Yeah, totally.
Crazy way of live, like the work.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I just find just working with a lot of people, doing collaborations, are really healthy for you. And I think working in bands, working in film crews, working in festival crews, working in community groups, there's this real buzz to it because you all have the same sort of objective, and it's to leave things better than you found it.
Yeah,
and I love that about things, because that means you're putting a bit of spit and polish on things.
Yeah.
It may not get to the high rises that one could have, you know, grandioso dreams about, which are fun to have. You know, turning Western Sydney into a film district is just a really big dream. I think it's an achievable dream over a decent amount of time, with not just activating spaces, but activating people. And I think there's a lot of people, there's a lot of talent in Western Sydney, and I think when you stem it back, it does come to those social, economical, ethnic, sexual boundaries between people, the differences that are pointed out in us,
and also for them believing in themselves too.
Yeah,
just giving it a show and not worrying about feeling embarrassed or
you know, these judgments.
Giving a try, and that's down to society also, you know, to encourage that with others as well. There's nothing better than to see someone who's come up from a
the rags to riches idea, coming up from adversity.
Not being as privileged, from more slight, even if it's a slight disadvantage to a major one, and just not giving in and just keep going.
Humble beginnings.
And there's how many dips in the road in our industry?
Yeah,
plenty of them.
Oh yeah, look, I think to do what we do, whatever walk of life that is through the media scape, right? You've got to be a little bit crazy.
Crazy and have a bloody big backbone.
I think
thick one.
I think you have to have a bit of a thick skin. But the strange thing is, like, the most sensitive people I know are doing what we do. And,
true.
But they just have this other exterior to them where they have their armour. You know, it's come up on the show before. You know, when you focus on the trolls and you focus on the people that are stalking you and the people that are just trying to drag you down in some sort of way, or try to have power over you in some sort of way, you know, and you know, I think a lot of people suffer that, you know, in different ways, in different ways, you know.
It's just that I think it's changed now with obviously social media and internet availability. It's changed from our days of that, but we still had that, even just in a different form.
That's right. The medium changed,
and it makes it a little bit easier for the different levels to meet now, because you literally can meet anyone over the internet, or anyone.
This has been written about.
Will chase you or view you, and you don't have a clue.
Yeah. There's lots of study over this. There's extensive study over it. If you look at Marshall McLuhan, right? Marshall McLuhan is the medium is the message. So if you're doing radio, that's the message. You may be saying stuff on the radio, but that medium reaches people in this way. It's an extension of voice.
Yeah.
TV is an extension of voice. Film is an extension of voice. Music is an extension of voice. These are extension of ourselves. Now we have this extension that is in our hand. That is our... YouTube is your TV station. Facebook is your newspaper. Instagram is your photo album. You know, there's all these digital representations of how we hold memory, and that memory is external to us, and that is the message. That external medium is the message, and that message is changing. Like, look at, I think a really good way to measure this, by the way, to totally nerd out.
Go on, man. Oh, not nerdy. It's not. He's going nerdy on me.
Okay, it's a good way to measure this is American presidents. Okay, so if you look at Eisenhower, radio president, right? Right, had power on the radio by getting by getting his voice out there.
Yeah.
If you go forward to Kennedy, TV president, first television president, right? Medium changed. It was so dramatic. They shot that guy. Like, he was getting too much power.
We are getting very deep here now.
And then you get further into it, and then you start to get to Ronald Reagan. He was an actor. Ronald Reagan was an actor. Became president of the United States. I think there's a correlation between those two things. He was another new age TV president. If you look at Obama, he was the Facebook president. Who's Trump? He's the Twitter president, right? So if you look at the medium, that message...
So the next president in your role of timeline is going to be...
What the next medium is.
Going to be an Instagram.
Yeah, maybe it'll be Instagram. Maybe, yeah. But what about when we start going VR and this sort of things, where you got Google search
with a Snapchat?
Yeah. The Snapchat president. The Snapchat president.
I'd love to see some with Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh, well,
do you know when I
just grab him by the snatch chap? Yeah, that's where you'd be at. Oh, that was too much.
Oh, I didn't know that. You have to repeat that later. I'm going to say that one.
No, because Trump being the snatch chat. Donald Trump would say, grab him by the snatch chat. You know, it's just a terrible joke.
Right. No, but I thought it was snatch chap. I think that's better.
The snatch chap.
The snatch chap.
Oh, the snatch chap. That's the reverse idea.
What you think?
Yeah.
Was that not what you? Sorry, is that not what you were thinking of?
No, because I was taking the piss out of Donald Trump for, like, grabbing by the pussy joke. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Grab him by the
snatch chap. But you got to snatch. Grab him by the snatch chap. Like
chap. Yeah, because he is a
snap. Dude.
Yeah. Doesn't that make sense?
It does, totally, but it's the opposite. It's the opposite. You're either grabbing a lady by her lady parts, or you're grabbing a dude by his dude parts, Can I say that?
No,
is dude parts appropriate?
What I was meaning is snatch chap. He's talking to his mate, grab it by the snatch chap.
Let's see how chaps do it.
Is that right? We're going to get shut down for this, or someone's going to be whinging and not like it. But you know what? So
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sera. Okay. Or in Thailand, we'd say,
maybe
lie.
Yeah, lie bad?
Maybe lie, car. Never mind.
Yeah, lie is the never. So it's reversed.
Never mind. Maybe
because I know a little bit of Tetum. Edak or lie. Are you good or bad? Edak or lie.
What's that?
Tetum. So it's like Portuguese mixed with East Timorese.
Well, that's a bit fancy, isn't it? I don't know anything.
It's fancy. I think it's the opposite of fancy.
It sounds it. It sounds good.
Yeah, no, because they were trying to make them speak Indonesian, and that didn't really work out. And then they had Portuguese. I'm sure that didn't work out.
We're jumping from some strange subjects here tonight. Yeah, I know. To grab a bite.
Yeah, but this is what happens on the Pagey train. You have a couple of beers, and you end up all over the shop.
Snatch chap. What were we talking about? Trumpy pump. That's what I was getting to. That's
snap.
Anyway.
Chat. The Snapchat
and they're not
president.
Sponsors, by the way.
Yeah. The Snapchat president.
They're not sponsors. Neither is Trumpy Pumpy, because that's what I was getting to.
Trumpy Pumpy.
Yeah,
Trumpy Pumpy.
Yeah, that's what I used to call him when I used to have to report on him. Sorry, I got an itchy ear. Anyway, sorry.
Why don't point it out? Just scratch your ear.
Just scratch the ear.
Just scratch it. Just go scratch it, and I'll just cut to the other scene. Now we're talking about it.
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter
Anyway, Trumpy Bumpy. That's what I used to call him. That's what I used to call him when I used to have to report on him, or do a teaser. You know how we do teasers leading into what we're going to talk about.
It's one of those things, though. He's either a brilliant genius or an absolute fucking doofus. You just don't know, and that's the mystery.
Some people think he's great, some don't.
You know, like those 8 balls that you shake and it tells you your future?
His hair, though, really...
Yeah, I know, but that's what they should make, is one of those 8 balls. But instead of having the 8 ball, it's got his hair. And you shake it and it predicts the future, you know.
Oh, did you see him? Did you see him on the big balloon in the UK?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, he was up on the balloon. Yeah, there's a few. And Sadiq Khan as well, you know, the Mayor of London. Oh, tell you. Oh, it's funny.
Oh,
anyway.
You mean the ex-mayor of London, Boris Johnson? Or
No, he's now Prime Minister, but I'm talking about Sadiq Khan, the Prime Minister. Sadiq Khan. The mayor. He was actually, I think, and I might be wrong, but Boris Johnson was actually liked as a mayor. Sadiq Khan.
But he was liked as a mayor. Like, he did all those stunts, right? Which I think is really cool. But I don't know if he's parliamentary.
Hey, no, have you not seen? I've watched. I don't
want to get. I don't know where to go with this Brexit thing with you though. Like,
don't go there.
We shouldn't go there.
No, probably not. Very political at the moment.
It's very political because I wouldn't want to go into that. That's what I mean. We can't even go into that spectrum because you think about the volatility of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and that's
people's
really
views
heavy.
in that, and I'm not sharing the view. You know, I can see both.
That's where it becomes secular. It becomes a secular idea where you go.
And your opinions.
As I say, I'm not pressing you on your idea. I'm just saying that if you press me on the idea, I'll be like, that's
what I found hard reporting on it, and especially having like one of the shows was the.
You've got to be non-biased as a
That's right, as a journalist.
As a journalist, you got to do that.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen from. Doing the Best of British, the news creeping in, and what you choose to do the news, because I had to produce obviously all my news and everything what I was doing, sport, the whole content of the show, and it was hard when watching those Brexit, because in a lot of these media newspapers now it is obviously they're one-sided, or they're viewing it, they're not very bias. I tend to use BBC because that's the most reputable of them all, whether I agree myself through other media streams I use, because I don't just do mainstream. There's a lot of great news feeds from elsewhere.
But they pull the news.
And you've got to be careful.
But they pull it though, and you've got to select it.
That's right.
Yeah.
In a lot of the mainstream stuff, but some of them are really on the mark when we know as journalists, but it's what the mainstream media put out. Anyway, going back to it, in a way, it's good that at the moment I'm not on Best of British or Irish Vibes, because I don't have to. That's why when I did Irish Vibes show, it was more about the music only, not news content and really what's going on, because I found that a little bit heavy on a Sunday morning for an Irish show.
Yeah, because you tune in and you just want to listen to
and
if that's your niche, that's your niche, right?
Very political. I don't really like talking on the political side, and let's face it, there's so many people, can I say it, so many people pissed off about Brexit in Britain. It's untrue.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know what to think.
Let's see. Does any of us really know until the 31st of October?
But if you look
on the 1st of November, are we in Europe or are we not?
I know. You could be in a ship that's left London during that time, and by the time you return to London, shit's different.
It's going to be very different.
Very different.
Wait, do you know what though, Ross? Let's face it, and if I can say this, all governments, they all say they're going to do one thing. All parties, do they do it? Are they really for the real men?
Yeah, I don't know. I say that
I'm very opinionated in that respect. But
anyway.
Me too.
Me too. But you got to be careful with those things. And I go, well, look, if you look at religion, right? I think people are entitled to faith, and if you're entitled to think what you like, But for me, I just find that if you look at the way that we understand the world and the universe, there are parts of religion that have become irrelevant. they've become irrelevant. And I think there's relevance to religion. There's nothing wrong with admitting that there's relevance to it or irrelevance to it. But we need to have it evolve with society and the way that, the way that people think in the modern times. And I think...
I wouldn't go even as deep as that, I believe... Look, people believe...
Not that I would select
religion
religion as a doctrine, but... if
people,
you're going to...
People can believe whatever they want to believe in that. And you know what? If it ain't harming people, or if you don't agree with it, just stay away from them and let them believe it. Whatever. Just let people live and let live.
But I think more to the case is that when you look at government, it has the similar relevance now. Like, don't get me wrong, we need to build roads, we need to run hospitals, we need to fund these things, and we need to have an energy policy. We need to have the way that we do business as humans. We need to be conducting that business, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the way that we govern that, and I'm not with the pretext of I don't know the answer to the question. I just know that there's a problem. I don't claim to be an expert at anything, really. Just this is how I feel, and I feel that the way that we've run government for the last 100 years has worked, but we are so scared of changing it to whatever that is. Like even speaking things like that, people would say, "Oh, that's a communist idea," and like without even labelling it. Like I'm just asking the question.
There's two things going on there. There's labelling, and everyone's very quick to label all sorts these days, like mental health conditions or this or that. Or everyone's too quick to label. But also, you forgot what I was going to say on the second part then.
No. We've gotten deep.
We have got deep.
We are 6 points into this bad boy.
Okay, so you're saying about the government, and you were saying about how it's governed.
I'm just saying about if it's irrelevance.
Labels.
Like, I think the way that we vote, for instance. Like, I think democratic processes are important, but the way that we vote on things doesn't seem to be working. Like, there seems to be more commercial interests.
Well, hey, I've always questioned
politicians' motives.
You go and vote, and you use a pencil. What's the go with that? Pencils can be rubbed out. You're not allowed to use it in a test exam. So what's that about?
Yeah.
Everything from when the first exam I took from a kid always had to be in pen. We normally wrote in pencil all the way through, but when we had to go in an exam, in pen, so it can't be changed. So why do we use a pencil?
Yeah,
when we go and vote here?
Yeah.
Because we use a pen back home. I don't know.
Well, actually, I did have this crazy idea about democracy. I had this crazy idea.
Go on.
I'm sure the Romans did this. I'm not entirely sure.
It's killing me while I can't remember that other point I was going to make because it was really good.
I don't remember where I thought of this, but it may have existed in Roman times. I need to check that out. But how you can be called up to do jury duty. Mm-hmm. And to be called up to do jury duty, you need to fit certain attributes,
certain criteria.
Yeah, there's criteria to being a juror.
Yeah.
Right. So why shouldn't we have jurors or electees to be the Minister for Transport, the Minister for the medical industry, the Minister for Defence, the Minister for Arts, and then you put out, all right, so here are the main practitioners of the transport industry.
I think you'd have to narrow the criteria quite a bit from what goes on jury to who's running the country.
Yeah, I know. But you see what I mean?
I do agree that there would be some sort of criteria for that.
But I think if you worked out specific criteria if you're in the transport industry, you need 10 years experience in a managerial position that has been engaged at the coalface of how that industry works to the executive how that industry works. You'd be able to narrow it down to 100 people, and you'd be able to narrow it down to 10 people, and then you go, right, so you guys are going for the Minister for Transport, and then you put it out to public vote, and you go, these are the people. And they go, well, if I be a politician, this means that I'm away from my job. You go, well, we pay you for your job and you get it tax-free. But that's it. You know what I mean? Instead of having politicians that have these massive cash incentives, you go, you get the wage that you're on.
Why don't you put it forward? Why don't you go on change.org?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the right idea. Like, I guess I'm just putting it out there. Like, it's something we explore, right? Why do politicians need to be career politicians? Why shouldn't they be selected from society just like jurors are? Because a juror could determine whether someone spends the rest of their life in jail. So why couldn't someone of qualification determine what happens for a pocket of people in that industry. You know what I mean?
I get you. However, the problem then you've got is you're going to have people who will still need to have, because don't forget, these politicians have media advisors. They've got a whole team underneath them, so they're just the puppets and spokespeople.
Yeah.
So then you still got this person who is probably not as equipped to deal in that sort of role with these media advisors. Might be a recipe for disaster.
I don't know about that. Like, if we actually made some, like, decent criteria for people, like, because, do you know, the current, I'm pretty sure, like, if you look at the Minister of Defence, right, if you look at the Minister of Defence over the last 10 years, look at their previous portfolio. It would be arts. So you want the arts minister, then becoming the defence minister. And you go, but it's just running a portfolio, right? It's just all legal jargon. And we write it off to this. But they don't actually have that industry experience.
I see what you're saying. So you would be looking at those jurors, and then there'll be people there who are ex-military or ex-ministers, ex-defence force hierarchy.
Yeah, and the guy from the transport industry,
that makes sense.
He run busways for 20 years.
That makes sense.
He gets how buses run.
But
and
I
he can
also
talk,
think-
and trains aren't the same, but he can talk to train people because he runs buses.
Yeah.
Or she.
Yeah.
To put it in like a valid, up-to-date context.
Well, that's not a bad idea, but what I think you need to vet is the media advisors heavily that are around them.
Yeah.
Team
Stacking
of
it
people,
and
because
corrupting it,
they're the ones
right?
who do the research. They're the one who really
But perhaps there
know
should be
the legal.
But as I say, I don't have all the answers to these ideas. But I'm just saying that the way that we look at politicians now and the power and position that they're given, they feel privileged. They must. If you look at the comments that come out of both sides of government, you know, and I don't want to name and shame it, because that's what they would do. I don't want to do that. There's been comments that have come out of the government where you think,
I can't believe how shocking they can get away with saying the things they do.
well, Trump's led the way.
stuff-
Trump's led the way.
Even before Trump, you can't pin Trump for this
you got
one.
a point there.
Because I'm not being funny.
that's-
You watch the House of Commons,
that's a normal
and
cynicism,
House of-
yeah.
Because I'll be honest, my auntie I never forget going into the House of Lords and the House of Commons. I got the chance as a little girl when it was sitting in session, purely because my auntie was a councillor at the time for a certain party.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. But you look at what goes on in there today, and the shouting and the screaming and what they say to each other and people is just unbelievable. And
Is it would you describe it as parliamentary?
it's definitely not parliamentary behaviour.
Yeah, but that's their job,
That's
right? That's their job.
That's what they're doing, but you would get
Are
in
they
trouble.
statesmen? Would you describe them as statesmen? You know, because that's what you'd call a parliamentarian, right? You call them a statesman. There's someone that's and that statesman, calling someone a statesman has a connotation to it. It means that you are acting for the people, and you have class, and you have
That's
education.
Right, yes. Yeah,
and
it's a certain standard.
And you're applying
You're
a standard.
That's
you're
right.
applying
and the
a
stuff
standard.
that comes, they're definitely not.
And I don't think politicians, and that's because don't get me wrong, when we were growing up, right, politicians were always known as crooked.
Yeah.
But now you contrast a crooked politician from when we were growing up to now, that's night and day. It's night and day of what's going on. They are public relations officers that are being operated by a team that doesn't care about them.
No.
Because if they stood wrong, they would axe them, and they do. They bloodlet all the time.
Yeah.
They bloodlet their own.
I can't believe what goes on
No.
in all the parties now, here and home.
I've just realised the time, and I've got to cut it. We're
No.
at the end. Yeah.
Oh, get out. Cut it already. We're only just getting into this.
I know, but I've got to leave the space for the promo material.
Oh, we might have to do
Yeah, well, look.
might have to come back.
Well, we need to talk more about the future. I've got next season. Totally get you back. It's absolute
Next season. So these
pleasure.
are all in seasons.
Yeah, totally. So this is 2019. Do 2020 next year.
Have you finished for now? Have you wrapped up for the year?
Oh, I've got another 2 or 3 guests to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh,
None
you're
of
good.
them- Oh, you got to pump them out, mate. You got to pump them out.
Oh, is that right? Or is that right? Am I going to be your new... Are you going to be my new mentor? Am I going to
I
learn
don't know
this
about
podcast thing?
Look,
What do you reckon,
It's
Ross?
not much to it. You just plug a few mics in, get a few cameras going, and record the conversation, and then.
Well, what if you're talking
I
to
do a
no one
multicam
and you're
out at
talking
the
on
end.
yourself?
You can't, I don't know. I just find that weird. I guess I guess if I'm to do videos of myself, it's how-to videos of the crazy shit that I do. You know, like astrophotography,
Right. We got
making edit plugins.
We've got so many more shows we need to do. We could just go on this one.
Oh no, it's just a rabbit hole, right? You dive in and you find things along the way. Like, I never thought that I would be a drone pilot. You just fly things around and it's a lot of fun, and you take photographs while you do it. It's cool. I never thought I'd interview people, and I never thought that I'd make news. Like, when do you ever think that I'm going to make news one day? You never think that. No,
that's true. That's why our job's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't mind. I love what we do, man. And I think sound design is the best. Doing sound design is where it's at for me.
And can I just give you
I've had a few more paid gigs for sound design, and I'm really enjoying it.
Speaking of which, can I give a plug to my little buddy who I need to hook you up with? His name is Nelson. Now, Nelson...
Big shout out to Nelson.
He's a legend. Wait till you meet him, Ross. He's very technical. Young one coming through the route, from babies, really, our next generation. He needs shown. Anyway, a big shout out to Nelson. Hey, how you going? I want to know about these, and a big shout out to these mics. Not seeing these flashy gold things.
Well, I'm not even. Look, I'll talk to you about these off air because it's hilarious. But
they are good. Oh gosh.
Yeah, making you feel like a star, mate. You gotta feel like a star.
You're a little bit posh.
You see this table, right?
You need to get a new chair, though. Listen to it.
Yeah, I know. That's my edit chair. That's my edit chair from TVS. I just bought this chair.
For someone like me sitting there, I can't.
Yeah, no, you're doing all right. But you see this table, right?
He's a sound engineer. He can get rid of all that. Let's see how this comes up.
You see this table?
I like it.
French polished. I French polished this when I was 15.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is the old dining table, and I've drilled into it and drilled mics into it. Thanks, Mum and Dad.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah. Shout out to Mum and Dad for that.
Yeah. They've done all right. They've done all right. Love them to death. They're best people that I know.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Of course, 100%. You've done a good job of that, mate.
Yeah.
And I think you've done a great setup. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Oh, look, I'll totally have you back. We'll talk more business about, getting you up and running with your podcast.
And Made in the West.
Yeah, and Made in the West.
Because that's next month. We've got 1 month away.
Yeah. Check us out, 23rd of November. Come and see the great show. Check us out on madeinthewest.com.au and to book your free tickets to go to the event.
And come and say hello as well.
And if you have a film, come and enter the film into mainlandwest.com. You'll also find the portal to get there. And hey, if you're looking for someone to film your interviews and do your sound design for you, check us out at stillsearchingproductions.com. And to do another plug for Laura B, watch this space. We'll be totally advertising your podcast that's coming up.
And still the Facebook page is still going, Laura B Radio.
So check out Laura B Radio. I'm going to nudge you to take that job that you were talking about before, but we'll talk about that more off air.
Right.
But nonetheless, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Laura B.
Thank you, Roscoe, for having me.
Not a problem at all. And
big shout out to this Pagey train.
Yeah, big shout out to the Pagey train. I don't get much shout outs.
Hey, Pagey train. Legend.
Well, thank you very much, and guys, we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
There we go. All done.
All done
and dusted.